Hello there, welcome to Blitz Transmissions. I'm Tommy, and today we're going to be discussing the topic of actor likenesses when it comes to Star Wars products, be it vintage collection, Black Series, Hot Toys, any scale, any price range, anything that really tries to hone in on actor likeness. Now specifically in this video, we're going to be focusing on animated characters that showed up either in animation first and have yet to have a live action actor portray them, or actors that have portrayed previously exclusively animated characters. So the reason I decided to make a video on this is actually because, and I have to give a shout out to my two good friends, Hybrid Toy Reviews and 212 Hunter. We were having a pretty heated debate about a week ago about this topic, and I've been mulling over it a little bit. I figured I wanted to get the community's opinion on this topic. So first thing I'm going to do here is explain what sparked the debate. And this debate kind of sparked from what the companies do for collectibles, whether it be Hasbro with their lines, Hot Toys with their line, where there are lines that are focused on giving realistic looks for everything in Star Wars, for a uniform look for a larger line. In Hasbro's lines and in Hot Toys, we see this a lot, and the challenge particularly comes with characters and designs that came from animation, which can tend to be extremely stylized, and trying to portray that in a realistic way so that the designs not only blend with the rest of the figures that they make, but also that they still look faithful to those animated designs. So to explain both the sides of the debate here, I'm going to use a couple different examples. The first side of the argument that I'm going to explain here is the side that says that once a live action actor or actress is cast for a character, that actor or actress should be used as the likeness for all products going forward. A specific example of this, and this was a huge part of this debate, was Ariana Greenblatt being cast as the young Clone Wars era Ahsoka Tano in the Ahsoka series flashbacks. With Ariana being cast, we saw her in her Tales of the Jedi outfit, as well as her Clone Wars Season 7 Siege of Mandalore outfit. Obviously, before this show came out, there were existing figures for these looks of Ahsoka. In the Black Series, we did have the kind of middle of Clone Wars, about seasons 3 through 5 look, and we also had the Clone Wars Season 7 look all the way back in like 2020. And as for Hot Toys, we had similar treatment with Ahsoka for that Siege of Mandalore look. They made a figure, and they did as best they could at making a generic likeness for the product so that it could look uniform with the rest of your figures on your shelf. Obviously, I'll never be one to complain about the choices that are made with bringing animated characters into a live action look for a product, because these companies have to completely guess on all of this stuff. They have to build a face from the ground up, and they have to find a way to sculpt that head and that face for you as the collector to go, hey, that does look like that character, that looks familiar to me. And on top of that too, it's important for them to find ways to sculpt the outfits and come up with ways to make the figure posable and make it a fun product to play with, while also keeping faithful to the designs of Star Wars. So on one side of the argument, and I'll just continue to use Ahsoka as an example here, you have the camp, the side that says, okay, well now that Ariana Greenblatt has been cast as this young Ahsoka, I think that all Ahsoka action figures and collectibles going forward that they're trying to be a live action interpretation should use Ariana's likeness as the face. And I can understand this talking point completely, because if the goal of these lines is to create a realistic look for these characters, then once you have an established actor, whether you agree with the casting choice or not, then that should be what the companies go forward with. Now, there are tons of other, side issues that are involved in this, like likeness rights and licensing and things of that nature, but we're going to pretend that that doesn't matter when it comes to this argument. I'm just presenting to you both sides of the likeness debate. Now, of course, the argument can also be made that, sometimes these live action actors don't look anything like the animated looks for the characters. Obviously, this is a tricky one because, like I said, a lot of these designs in these animated shows are very, very stylized. Unrealistic body proportions, like gigantic cartoony eyes, characters being grossly thin, or, their body proportions, like the legs being extremely long, can make it very difficult when trying to make a real person's body fit into the costume. And that's why I think I can also see the other side of the argument, which is make the figure look like the character. It doesn't need to exactly be the actor's likeness, though, for the sake of being faithful to the original media it's from. I've seen a lot of people have disagreements over whether or not Mary Elizabeth Winstead, for example, was a perfect choice to play Harrison Dula, and it's been interesting to see how Hasbro has tackled that. With the recent vintage collection Ghost HasLab, we got to see a Harrison Dula figure with that, and it looks like what Hasbro did with that figure, again, this is on a 3.75 inch scale, it looks like it's just a younger version of the existing Ahsoka Hera figure, and I find it very interesting that Hasbro has chosen to do that, and it makes me wonder if that's what they're going to do going forward. I have on pretty good authority that we are going to be getting more Rebels figures in the Black Series in the next couple of years here, starting with the latter season's look for Kanan Jarrus. The existing Kanan figure is not the best, and I'm excited to see how much they will retool and redo for this new version of Kanan, because he is pretty different looking in the latter seasons of the show, and I'm interested to see what they decide to do with the likeness. In the Ahsoka show, Hera does have on the dashboard of the Ghost a little Polaroid photo almost of Kanan, and it is the likeness of Freddie Prinze Jr. in that photo. So that then begs the question, should Hasbro, even with something as minor as this, going forward, if they plan to do any more Kanan figures, use Freddie Prinze Jr.'s likeness as a base for the character's look? And this doesn't just come down to actor likenesses. I mentioned costumes before. I know that, me personally, I revere the Hot Toys 501st Troopers like Captain Rex, Jesse, there's a new Fives and Echo coming out. However, these designs came from animation, and the way that Hot Toys chose to execute those figures is technically not accurate to the animated shows or the prequel trilogy. If you're trying to make clone trooper figures that come from animation that look like real life, then you should be going off of the prequel looks of the clone troopers. And there are plenty of ways, whether it's the shade of blue that was chosen or the way that some of the armor is shaped, especially on Fives and Echo, that don't exactly translate 100% to that live action look. But at the end of the day, I find it a very interesting topic to discuss because it's a very multifaceted issue. There's a lot of different things to look at. There's the collector's preference, do you prefer characters to look more like the animation? Do you prefer them to, go with the actor's likeness going forward? Then there's the issue of creative liberties when it comes to these companies. What do they have to sacrifice? Because again, a lot of these designs are not doable when it comes to real life human body proportions. So the companies have to take a lot of creative liberties when designing these figures so that it's an enjoyable experience when you open it up and you're posing it. And I feel like it can be kind of hit and miss, and I feel like this is almost a case-by-case issue where, there are characters that have shown up in animation, and when a live-action interpretation is made of them, I'm like, nah, that didn't really land. A couple examples that I can think of are the Admiral Rampart figure and the Anakin Skywalker, the first version of that Clone Wars look from Hasbro's Black Series line. These are designs that were taken from animation, and you have two different cases here, whereas with Rampart, it's a character that we have never seen in live action, and I doubt we ever will. So it's interesting to see, Hasbro just kind of choose a generic face and try and print those face proportions and that look onto that character. Whereas with Anakin, it's strange that they went with this weird amalgamation of almost like trying to take the animated look and translate it to a real life figure when we all know that Hayden Christensen is Anakin Skywalker, so why would they not use a younger Hayden Christensen likeness for the look on that animated figure? Or for Darth Maul, for example, with Hot Toys, they tend to use Ray Park's likeness even if it's a design from animation. However, with the recent Black Series figures for Darth Maul, when it's from either Rebels or even like the Battlefront games or even the recent Phantom Menace figures, you don't exactly see a lot of Ray Park's likeness. It's very more akin to that animated look. And there are certain times with this issue where I agree with the choices that the companies make, and there are other times where I disagree. And I feel like that's what makes this such an interesting issue, and I feel like I can't really concretely set myself in one specific camp. Because, and back to Ahsoka, who is the example I've been using this whole video here, I do understand the logic of wanting to use Ariana Greenblatt's likeness for future figures, but the more I sit with it, the more I'm like, Would I really think that figure looks good though, even though it's accurate to what the live action casting is for the character right now? It's a very interesting subject, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys think of it. So let me know in the comments below, do you find yourself in one side or the other of this debate? Do you think that if a live action actor or actress is cast, that they should use that likeness going forward for every single figure? Or do you think that the companies should have a little bit more creative liberty? I love to talk about these things, so make sure to comment and we can chat back and forth about it some more. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. If you are an ARC Trooper in my Patreon, you would have seen this video early. If you'd like access to early content, monthly giveaways, and more, make sure to check out the link in the description below to my Patreon. If you're more into action figure reviews, you could check out my YouTube channel membership, Rancor Battalion, and all the links to my Discord and all my other social media can be found in the description below. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.
Breaking off. All units, fire at will. 1-2, pick a target. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. You've got to hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. I'm hit. Where's our